Good morning, everybody. It is sunny. Oh, yes, UK. Please carry this on. Please. Listen, we're going to be back over the weekend with your Leeds United content. Stay till the end of this video because we've got a pretty big announcement for the weekend, to be honest with you. But I wanted to talk specifically about each and every situation that could happen this weekend. I mean, it's massive, isn't it? It's a big weekend. Leeds United definitely, in my book anyway, have got the toughest opponent. And you can look at what Preston against Sheffield United. Preston are in 15th, Portsmouth are in 17th. You can say what Preston are a tougher opposition, but you know what it doesn't tell you about our running is some of the opposition we're playing away from home. You know, QPR, Luton, Pompey, these are banana skins, but we've come through banana skins. We've absolutely battered these banana skins before. We've torn them up. We've not slipped on them, we've torn them up. You know, you look at Watford, you look at Coventry, big performances from the Whites, of which we didn't concede a goal. So you kind of look at that and you think Leeds are a bit different to last season and other seasons in terms of us slipping up really in these key games. I think against the bottom half teams, we've got one of our best records ever at championship level. It's been very different, and that's down to efficiency, quality, and ultimately depth as well. So these are all big considerations when we're talking about the running really. And look, if it isn't advantageous to us the end of this weekend, do I think it's done for Leeds? Do I think we're going to fall into? But I really don't. I think our running is definitely the best out of the lot that we're coming up against. I think Burnley have got a tough run in. Burnley have still got to play 7 of the top 11 teams in the division. We've got one more team to play in the top 10, and that's at home to Bristol City. So effectively you can win pretty much every game at home, which I think Leeds will do, and then you can draw nigh on every single game and you can still break the 100-point mark. You know, effectively Leeds wouldn't have to even win another game away from home this season if we're picking up wins at home this season and draws away from home. So that's the context for me, and I think I'm just really positive about how it's going at the minute. Even if we don't get the desired result at the weekend, which it's going to be a tough game. I know it's going to be a tough game. You just get a feeling, don't you? And you got to respect the opposition. And look, as much as we battered them at Ellen Road, which we did, they hung in there and they were resilient. And that's what Portsmouth have been this season. They've done extremely well to get themselves into a situation where really they're not even thinking about relegation. They're not even thinking about the playoffs. So they're in sort of that mid-range now, which is probably more advantageous again for Leeds United. Portsmouth don't really have anything to play for. Leeds United have everything to play for, and that's got to be the message, the motto going into this one. Leeds have, if we win this game, it's another one down, and you beat Portsmouth, especially if you beat Portsmouth well. You've got our opposition teams having to play West Bromwich Albion, having to play Coventry, both of them, Sheffield Derby coming up. You've then got the Steel City Derby, that is, not Sheffield versus Derby County. You've then got Sheffield United having to go to Burnley, third last game of the season. There's mass pressure on these games. With Leeds, I think probably we look at QPR, we look at Luton, we look at Portsmouth, and if anything, weirdly with Luton as well, I don't know what it is, but it seems to be every Leeds fan I've spoken to in my personal life just looks at Luton and thinks, yeah, it's that one, isn't it? And it is weird because they're nearly cut adrift. But by the time we play Luton again, they could be cut adrift, and that's a big beneficial sort of standard setting, I should say, for Leeds United. And then you've got Plymouth on the last day of the season. They could be completely cut off as well. So the teams that Leeds have got to play, really, with the quality that we have and the state that a lot of them are in, it's good for us. It really is good for us. So I don't think if the worst case scenario happens this weekend, it's toys out the pram settings. I think it's very much we just carry on, and let's say worst case scenario, the points are drafted to Sheffield United, they're drafted to Burnley, and let's say worst case scenario, we lose. That keeps us on 76 points. Sheffield United are on 76 points, Burnley on 74. That means goal difference wise, we are still top of the division. And then I'll be honest, I would probably look at that run in, and it's probably for me, Pompey and QPR, which is the hardest. I think we'll go to Borough and win. I do think we'll go to Luton and win. But I don't know what it is with Pompey and Borough. With Pompey and QPR, I think they're the tougher ones. So I'd almost, and I've done a table predictor as well, and the table predictor that I've done has got us down. I've been really harsh, and I've got us down losing this weekend, and I've got us down, Luke, I wanted to go as harsh as possible to see where we'd end up. I've got us losing this weekend, albeit I did have us beating West Brom. So I'll chalk those 2 points off. But I had us losing this weekend. I had us losing against QPR. I chalked those 2 points off, and of West Bromwich Albion, so we didn't get maximum points. I've still got us finishing on 101 points. So that's how bad it can get, but how good it can be as well, because you lose these 2 games and hypothetically, and still I think Leeds will win the majority of the remaining games. So, you win 5 more games, you're on 90 points, or 93 points it might be. So it's not a bad situation we're in whatsoever. Obviously, we do have the other 2 teams who we have to take into context, but the context applied as well is they have much tougher games than we do. They do. I think Sheffield United, you've kind of got to look out for them, I'll be honest, because in the next 6 games, they've got 4 home games and they've got a very good home record. So they're ones that you have to look out for, I think, in this little sort of span of 6 games, because Sheffield United, I think, have got a decent run. 2 home games coming up for them as well. So they're going to be very close to us. They're going to be extremely close to us, whatever the outcome. So I think they'll win this weekend. I do think Burnley will win this weekend. And I have said Leeds will win this weekend. It just depends what Leeds United turn up. It does depend. Our away form has been exceptional. It's been extremely good post-December. Form-wise, it's probably one of the best in the division. So, you've got to take that once again into context, into consideration. So we should be going down to Portsmouth. And look, we're not being naive here. Football isn't played on paper. Of course it's not. Football is not played on paper. That's what we all know. But what we do know as well is the majority of the time it is played on paper. And why is it played on paper a lot of the time? Well, the teams that invest in players' transfer budget is, the expenditure is large. The wage budget is invested into, especially in the Championship, that those teams go up invariably, and all the stats will tell you that. Gone have the days where a real surge and a real run from 5th and 6th in the playoff structure gets you up. That doesn't happen anymore. You look at the last 10 to 12 years, the team that finishes 3rd or 4th goes up with the team, obviously, that finishes 1st and 2nd. So, football's not always played on paper, correct, but 95% of the time it is. So if Leeds don't give you that 5%, which is the outlier, then we're okay. So yeah, I think we're going to win this weekend. I think all teams are going to win this weekend, but it'll be a bigger win for Leeds because it's an away game. It's another away game chalked off. We then go down to 10 games, and then Leeds will be sat pretty on 79 points, hopefully with an even healthier goal difference. But worst case scenario, and I know my comment section, I love all of you, but after the West Bromwich Albion game, it was absolute chaos down there. It was as if we'd lost the league. What I would say is obviously dependent on the performance. If we have an absolute horror show performance and Portsmouth batter us, then there's going to be a different conversation. So once again, it's that C word, context. But if we go down there, narrowly lose, whatever happens, it's just not a great day for us. We come back and it's our first loss in 18 games. We go again. That's kind of where I'm at with it, because I've just got so much confidence in this squad. I really do. And now a lot of it's up to the manager as well. I think there's key decisions to be made this weekend. I think when you look at Ramazani, I saw a stat the other day that I think he spent like 97 minutes in something like 11 games, which for a player of that calibre, look, I'm not saying he should be starting, but there has to be more involvement. There has to be more involvement for a player of Premier League level. This guy was scoring against Real Madrid last season and being one of the best performers in those matches. So for me, I just think you've got to involve him a little bit more. And yeah, that's kind of the one that I'm looking at right now. Another one that I'm looking at is naturally Dan James. Sorry, not Dan James. The one that I'm naturally looking at is Brendan Aronson. Scared the life out of me then. He's the one that I'm looking at now, I think, when it comes to the selection. I think Brendan has struggled in 2025. We were giving him all sorts of praise when it was sort of the back end of December, when it was the Oxford games and games in and around that where he's performing really well. I do think he's dropped really from him. I don't think there's been an effectiveness. I think he's stodgy in that attacking four. And yeah, I think he's, even in the last game against West Bromwich Albion, there's a couple of counter-attacks where Brendan just fluffs it up, and it's there's a real fluidity, in my opinion, with the front four at this moment in time. I think Brendan is a little bit of a chink in the armour there, I think, to be honest with you. And I do wonder with Pompey's midfield this weekend, which is a decent midfield, by the way, a lot of physicality, bruisers in there, if you go take a look at their midfield. Is it going to be another case, which we've seen in the last 3 games, where Brendan is struggling a little bit? Because if I'm the Portsmouth manager, I'm just getting someone to follow him round. That's what I'm doing. I think Dan Neil did an absolute job on him in the Sunderland game. I then think Vinny Souza just completely bossed him for the Sheffield United game. And invariably, I thought Malumbi did an excellent job in terms of marshalling him out of the game as well. If you just watch Malumbi's positioning, he was just all over Aronson. So it sounds like managers are looking, or it looks like managers are looking at Brendan Aronson and almost just trying to take him out of the game. Now, Benjamin Blue made this comment on my channel the other day that central attacking midfielders aren't as important as people think in the Daniel Farke system. You know, obviously Buendia was more of a wide right player who's like the archetype Daniel Farke system player, and Todd Cantwell, was almost supplementary to an Emi Buendia in that system. I think Aronson is that to Dan James, and I think Aronson is that to Manor Solomon. But I think you need more effectiveness from him in terms of production. When a lot of people obviously are slating Joseph, a lot of people are slating players, coming off the bench, who probably shouldn't be starting. Probably Willian Yonto being another one of them. I think they're both on the exact same amount of goals as Brendan Aronson. I don't think there's many assists for him in 2025. For me, I'd be looking at this game, because I don't think there's that much of a difference. I'd be looking at this game at maybe putting Peru at the 10. That's what I'd be looking at doing. And then there's none of these excuses. Apparently, people always tell me that wingers apparently can't play in the number 10. So that's fine. If you want that to be the answer, that's fine. I don't think that's true whatsoever. I don't agree with it, but that's fine. We've seen Peru in the number 10 at points this season, especially in the Sheffield United game, especially in the Sunderland game, be really effective with Joseph as that spearhead. That's probably the change I'd make for this game. I don't think he will, but I think it's just getting to a point now where, Aronson off the ball's great. I think, okay, fantastic, but look, if we need that, we can bring that off the bench. I think he needs a rest as well. He's barely been rested at all this season. And maybe for those who were saying, oh, he wants another number 10, well, if he wanted another number 10, he wouldn't be playing Brendan Aronson in every single game. He wouldn't be starting him, especially because it feels like Daniel Farke works on a meritocracy. If you play well, you keep your place. But with Brendan Aronson, he's not been playing well in 2025. Stats will back it up. The eye test backs it up. He's not been playing well. So it's one of those things where you kind of look at it and think there's got to be a change at some point. So yeah, let me know what you would do in the comment section below. Anyway, this has been a bit more of a ramble than I thought it would be. But big news I wanted to share this weekend as well. I will be heading to Dublin. I'm going to be heading to Dublin on Sunday, meeting up with a few people, which I'm really looking forward to. Dublin on Sunday, Portsmouth versus Leeds. We're carrying on the Miami ventures. Right, I've got other places that I want to go and watch the games with Leeds fans, which I'm really excited for. There's sort of a few plans which I've got in my head, but Dublin was always one that I wanted to do. So the Camden on Sunday at 12, I'll be there. Mrs. might be with me, but still, I'll be there. So if any of you are there, I know we've got loads of fans who are Dublin based in Leeds. I'd love to meet up with you. I'd love to see you. If you want to appear on the channel as well, might be able to get a few interviews post game. But yeah, it's going to be great to meet a lot of you out there, as it was in Miami, as it's going to be in these other places. I'm talking to people behind the scenes now about me coming to certain places. But what I will say as well is, if you want me to come to your town, to your city, and there's a big Leeds base, let me know in the comment section below, and the most liked comment I will definitely look at. We'll definitely look at 100%. But I've got one other place in mind, but Dublin was always one of them that I wanted to test out on, because I know there's loads of you there. So Camden Hotel, really cool announcement. I'll be going there. We'll be filming a few bits as well for you guys. And yeah, let's see what the Irish have in store for Leeds United. It's been an absolute pleasure, everybody. Like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you in a bit.